Bay Ridge, and welcome to a special edition of After Hours. This you might call before hours, I guess. I wanted to just take a moment and introduce the series that we're going to be doing here. This Wednesday is Ash Wednesday. It's the beginning of Lent, which is a 6-week period of time heading up to Easter, where the church has traditionally taken time to spend time reflecting, oftentimes fasting, praying. Very often people would give up particular things so that they could focus in to learn more deeply the faith and to prepare for Good Friday and then Easter Sunday. Well, obviously things are a little bit different than they oftentimes are, but I want to encourage you as we head into this season. We're going to be doing something together, which is we're going to be taking the 6 weeks to look at Genesis 1 and 2. And the series is going to be called The Freedom of Limits. Oftentimes, Lent is a period of time where we limit ourselves. We restrict ourselves from certain activities. And it'd be good for you to think through some of those things. But rather than doing an overarching thing this year, we'll probably each week talk about certain areas and ways where we might understand that there's actually freedom in restricting certain things. And these are because they're related back to our human nature. We're going to look at what it means to be authentically human in Genesis 1 and 2. We've obviously been discussing this idea of authentic a little bit as we've looked through 2 John. And one of the areas that authenticity comes out in our culture, and it's a huge issue in our culture, people want to be authentic, and that is all built on their understanding of what it means to be human, what they really are, what their real identity is. But the problem is we have a given human nature. We tend to think that to be authentic, I have to shape and mold my human nature to be what I want it to be, but that's absolutely false. And because we think that that's what it means to be authentic, any kind of limits or restrictions that would be around us, we think of as inherently restricting our freedom, removing our freedom, as making us inauthentic. But in reality, to be truly authentic is to be truly, fully human, which means to embrace all that it means to be human, that we are created a particular way. And so we're going to be looking at this topic as we spend 6 weeks. There actually are many more things that you can get out of Genesis 1 and 2, but we're going to look at 6 different areas regarding what it means to be human. This deals with our nature as, being body and spirit. It deals with things like work and rest. It deals with things like, our sexuality and marriage and these kind of topics. So there are 6 different ones that we'll do, and we'll actually conclude on Easter Sunday by looking and seeing how Jesus is the second Adam and has fulfilled our call as human beings and opened up so that we can experience all that God has for us. So I'd encourage you right now, if you got time this week, to maybe start reading through Genesis 1 and 2 a little bit, to read through it just a couple of different times, to pay attention and begin to see and draw out of that text the way God has made creation. Creation has a given order. All of it does, because it was made by God. It's got His fingerprints upon it, and He created it for a specific purpose. And at the apex of that creation is humanity. We are the image of God, but that means we have a particular nature. And true flourishing, true authenticity comes when we recognize that nature, both its glories and its limitations, and we embrace that. That's where we find true freedom. So I hope you'll be joining us each Sunday as we go through this and do a little bit of a deep dive into Genesis 1 and 2 to look at the freedom of limits. Have a great week, and I look forward to gathering in person or online this Sunday. God bless.